Productivity is lacking. We're sort of fundamentally weak. We need to fix productivity. And I have a problem with this way of describing the economy. And first of all, I'm not against productivity. I'm not against economic growth. I think these things are all good things. If fundamentally the biggest problem was a lack of UK productivity, number one, what we'd be seeing is living standards falling, specifically in the UK. And I think a lot of people who live in the UK feel that what we have is a specific UK problem. It's very important to recognise living standards are falling for middle classes all across the world. All across the world. So this YouTube...
So the first thing I want to look at is this is regional averages of real wages of building laborers. So basically menial workers, usually among the lower paid, maybe not today, but anyway, as you can see, around the world, basically real incomes over 150 years have been rising quite dramatically. Here is Western Europe. Here's another look at some more recent data comparing various OECD states across a 10-year period between 2007 and 2017. The rate of growth hasn't been great across the board, but only 3 countries where it's actually been negative, and 5 countries plus the OECD as a whole, it's been growing. So the trend is not one of massive economic decline. You can see the UK in there. This data is a little bit out of date. So maybe there's a decline in 2017 to 2024. Let's look into that. So here's average weekly earnings in the UK between year 2000 and 2024. They've got total pay and regular pay, total pay being regular pay plus bonus pay. And as you can see, the wages have been steadily moving upwards. I mean, he referenced the middle class, so it's hard to see how a decline in the middle class, which represents a substantial portion of the workforce, wouldn't be captured in the overall average earnings. I'm very curious what data set, if any, Gary's actually working from.
collapsing, and yet living standards are collapsing. So again, we have a second disconnect here. But the third thing, and I think the most important disconnect, is if the fundamental problem in the British economy or even the global economy is a lack of productivity, why is wealth of the richest people in the country, the richest people in the world, millionaires and billionaires, why are these people's wealth exploding through the ceiling? So I'm sitting here now, we're filming this at the beginning of April. In the last couple of weeks, we have seen almost every single stock market in the entire world hit a new record all-time high. Does that sound like a world which has a problem of fundamental productivity growth?
I mean, the stock market's always going to be hitting new record highs. That's because the economy as a whole, these large businesses, they produce wealth. It's not a zero-sum game. It's a positive-sum game. So you expect the economy, you expect the value of these top companies to continually increase. Ergo, the stock market as a whole continually increases by about 5 or 10% per year, a not insignificant sum. There's going to be variance. It's going to go up 50% one year and down 30% another. But the general trend is onwards and upwards. So that's not a novel. That's what you expect. That's how it's been going for over 100 years now. It's irrelevant that the rich are getting richer. That's not what we should be focusing on. What we should be focusing on is why aren't real wages rising fast enough? What can be done to make real wages rise faster? It's not a problem if the rich are getting richer, if the poor are also getting richer at the same time. So contra Marx and basically the whole essence of left-wing thought, the rich don't get rich at the expense of the poor. That's not how the economy works. The economy is a positive sum game where wealth is created. So that wealth being created doesn't make anybody poorer off, quite the opposite. Now, the real question is, how can we see uh, the largest improvement in real wages, the fastest improvement or the largest amount of real wage growth for ordinary workers, manual laborers, whatever, people who are on the low income workers, people who make the lowest amount. You know, your McDonald's employee, your maids, your whatever. You know, and the answer to that is very clear, which is first of all, you need sound money. You need a non-inflationary currency like a gold standard. This this sound money, this non-expansionary currency, where something like Bitcoin would work as well, where just every year the money supply is the same, whatever it is, $2 trillion. That's it. Next year it's still $2 trillion. Okay, so if you had that, then people would have a large incentive to save because instead of your money being worth less every year, it becomes gradually worth more as production increases and the total number of goods for sale in the economy increases, their price would actually go down. So money you save in the present system becomes worth less because of inflation. So if we had sound money and people saved, then there would be more funds available to be reinvested in the economy, leading to capital accumulation, capital formation. This in turn would make workers more productive and then lead to higher wages. The other thing is government spending is too high because when government spending is high, you need high taxes to pay for it. These high taxes make it more difficult for people to save. They transfer wealth from the economic class to the political class so that the political class can enjoy high standards of living while at the same time it prevents the economic class from reinvesting in the economy, from contributing to capital accumulation, new businesses being started, jobs being created. So that's the answer to real wages. If your concern is how do we increase the standard of living for the working class, for the middle class, that's how you do it. And I mean, the reason why the wealthy are getting rich is because the economy is still tremendously productive. There's all this capital there, which they own and which contributes to production. And that's what allows even relatively um, poor or low income individuals today to enjoy a very high standard of living, a standard of living that was unimaginable in the past and is basically unimaginable for most of the people around the world today. So we really shouldn't be, hating on the rich because they're rich or blaming all our problems on billionaires as if that's a good scapegoat. What we need to focus on is how to improve real wages for low income individuals, and that's the political changes we need to make in order to achieve that.